Hi, this is David from Electric Teaching, and today I'm going to show you how we're going to continue on Starcatcher. This is where we're going to go to. This is the game that we're going to build up to. Last off, we didn't have the starter screen, and so I've created a starter screen here. And when I hit the space bar, as it says, it will start, and I am going to collect the stars using the mouse instead of the right, left, up, down arrow keys. As I collect them, they all gathered over here on the right, and then it waited 3 seconds and went back to the start screen. So that's where we're going to go to. So we are going to add a few variables here to control the player and the targets a little bit better, and also for spacing purposes. So I'm going to add to my comment line right here, load targets and array, and load player size. And then right below that, we are going to have a new variable called player width and player height. And we're going to set this equal to a 40, 40 pixel size, so that the 40 width and 40 height. So we're going to have a square size 40 by 40 player. And we're going to do something similar with the target. Target width and target height will equal 20, 20. Down here at the target num minus 10, and where we've created a target space variable, we're going to change the 10, which was basically half the target height and width. We're just going to say, instead of minus 10, now based on the variable, target height divided by 2, which would be 10 still in this case. I am also going to change the 50 here to be target width, again using the new variable. We are using target width here instead of just static numbers, so that when we go to use multiple levels, we have a way of spacing them out evenly, even if there's 4 stars or 10 stars. Now we're going to find where we've loaded up the player. Here we go down here. And instead of transforming it to a 40 by 40, we are now going to use those player width and player height. So that this is still 40 by 40, but we're using the variables, and very similar here. We're going to take the width of the screen minus the player width and the player minus the player height over here. Now let's set up a start screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get down right before we get into the game loop here, which is right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a start loop, basically. We're going to start, pardon the redundancy, we are going to begin with a start screen variable equal to true. It should turn purple on your screen. And then we're going to do a while loop, and the while loop will be while start screen is true. So since this is happening before our game loop, as you run through the script, the code, it'll hit this loop first, and we'll be looping here and won't see the game loop until we exit here. And this will basically, instead of using, I should be using a second function, which I will down the road and show you how to make different function definitions so that you could make this a little more tidy. But for right now, I just want to get this working, and we're almost to the end of this game. So let's go while start screen, colon. So while start screen, which is true right off the bat, we are going to now set up the screen. So screen.blit, and we are going to put in the background at 0, 0 like we did before. Could be copying and pasting something where I've done this before, but you know, I'm just going to do just a couple of these little blits. Let's put the player up there. It'll look good to have the player sitting there at the start screen, so we'll blit the player to wherever, I think we started it in the middle, as I recall. Excuse me, I forgot to return here. I was looking down instead of up. And let's see what else we're going to do. We're going to start a score text. We'll get the score text up there. And because it would again be nice to see this on the initial screen. And we're going to be using the game font render command, player score. This is where I feel uncomfortable, where I should be copying and pasting where I've done it before. And so I'm actually going to do that, because if I make any mistakes, it'll look like it jumped or something. So I'm going to copy that line right there. This is a smart way of making sure you always have the exact same code in a different place. Make sure that I've got everything finished off there. Yes, I do. I got it nicely finished. Let's see. The box size. No, we're not going to put that in. And the score in the X position, and we'll take a look at that. And I just found where the other little part is. It's right here, just down in the game loop. Let's go ahead and blit the score up there as well. Or this. Okay, so we have the score text and set up, and now we've blitted the score text to the position that we wanted to. So this is the beginning of our start screen right now. So now we need to do a loop where we place all of the targets up on the screen as well. So we're going to do a for, let's get this lined up right, for I in range, what, total num, just like we've done before. And I see a spelling mistake, yeah. So for I in range, total num, just like we've done down here. And I bet you this is setting up the targets. So again, instead of copying anything more, or instead of retyping all of this, we should just place them up there all the way down to where they blit each one. So I'm going to copy and erase the line I put there, even if it was right. Again, I'm being safer this way. Okay. We will need to also put in some instructions. So I'm going to do some new screen, new variables for instruction text. Let's do an instruct text equal, new variable here, game font render, just like before. What I'm going to say, use the mouse to collect the stars. The 1 means true, so that it's visible. And then we have a color, 2550 200 RGB. So it's going to be mainly red and no green, and then blue. So it has a little bit of a purple tint to it, then mixing the red and the blue there. All right, so there's my RGB colors with the text, and to make sure it's 1 for true, perfect. And of course, we need to blit it to the screen. So we are going to blit the instruct text to the target width. I am using the variables I've used before. Got a little misspelling here. So that I can always have it in the right place no matter what size I decide to make this. So if I want to make this on a small game or a larger screen, maybe for a tab down the road, then I can change just a few things and the whole game will still work, whether I'm on a large computer monitor or on a small little tab maybe. Let's see, target width. Let's go target width times 3. So that's going to be 3 target widths off the left and 60 pixels down. There we go. And let's see, we need one more instruction real quick. Instruct text 2, excuse me, instruct text to equal game font render, and put in my new instruction. Let's see, this one will say hit the space bar to start. You know, one for true, and a color in a slightly different tint, because I'm just kind of having fun making this up. So this one will still be purple, but more on the blue side rather than the red side, RGB. Okay, and let's split it. I'm going to get clever here. I'm going to copy this and paste it. Plus, I'm sure it gets boring watching me type all the time. Change what I need to change, which this is instruct text to. And I'm going to move it just a little bit lower. This one was at 60. Let's move this one to maybe a buck 60, 160. All right. We need to display Pygame display update, and what we're doing here is during the loop it just will continually update the screen with this information that I have loaded up here. So come back, lost part of it. Let me open up this window a bit so we can see a little more. Okay, now we need to be able to have a space bar to start the game. That means we're just going to say start screen false, and we also want the quit button available in case you just want to quit at that point and be able to hit the red X button. So this is what we're going to do, is we're going to come down to where we know we have it working, and we want to do the where is it, for event and Pygame get. We're going to go all the way down till we hit the key down and grab the first key event right. We're not going to use that. But we will use that start part. Okay, so let's go in here and paste it in. Make sure everything's tabbed out well for this event. Tab over. Okay, if it's quit, then quit, yes. The else if key down, and if that key is not the right, but the space bar, then what we'll do is we'll simply say start screen, start screen equals false to get out of this loop. Okay, so I think everything should be working. Let's maybe do a test. All right, cross your fingers here. It's summer. I'm a little rusty. I'm doing this. So let's see. Run the shell, run module. Yes, save it, and there's an error right off the bat. Start screen equals false. I didn't space that well. That was an easy one. Let's see if that works. Okay, do we get a start screen? So I think I found the error, and I was being very hasty up here. Please forgive me. This is supposed to be a for loop. I was copying something from down below thinking it was perfect, but is not exactly what we wanted. For in the range of target num. Okay, and what we want this to do has nothing to do with these positions here. Please forgive me. So the fact I had an if statement here using a variable that wasn't initiated froze the game, which is kind of a good lesson to learn too. All right, hopefully this works. I did try to look over everything else we did, and hopefully I don't have any other errors. What I'm doing is loading up, 10 targets, I 0 through 9. We'll load them all up based on the positions that I've already set up before, and that's why I didn't need that position point. Let's try this again. Cross our fingers. Automatically save. And it is summertime. You can see over here I have an error where I have tripled the T in instruct text on line 76, it looks like. So use Python's little error messages to really help you figure that out. Hopefully this isn't too frozen. Okay, I found my last two errors. Everything's working nice now. Forgive me. I think watching me make mistakes, though, is very important so that you don't make the same mistakes like this one, spelling. I had three T's here and 3 T's there. It's just a little fast on the typing. If I run the module now, you'll see the screen does start up on a start screen. And if I hit the space bar, it will let me go ahead and start playing the game. And I can try to collect all of the stars now. And again, sometimes playing this game old school with the keyboard is not the fastest. And testing purposes. This is why sometimes I change my target number when I'm testing to something like 3 so that we could easily get through this. All right, now here's what's going on. Nothing happens. Let's change that. So I'm going to quit the game. I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to say, hey, if we collect all of the stars down here, the last little if statement, put a little comment on it, loop back through game function or definition if collect all the stars. So this is the way we're going to do this. You're going to say if score. I'm going to base it on the score, which mine is total, target num times 10. That would be 100 with 10, obviously. And what this will do then is I'll let it pause for a second. I'll put in a nice little time delay from the Pygame function library. It's in milliseconds, so I'll do 2,000 here, or 3,000 if you want. Let's do 2,000, which is the equivalent of 2 seconds. And then I just rerun the game the same way that I called up the game down here in the main. Now I'm pretty sure that'll work. Crush fingers, I didn't make any more mistakes. Let's go ahead and put the mouse commands in. I know a lot of people are anxious for that, and if you started this video waiting for that, I apologize. It's 16.5 minutes into it. You're going to get that part now. So what we're going to do is come up here where we do the movements. Here's the mouse movements. First thing we're going to do is we're going to comment out all the keyboard movements, all the key down and key up movements. We're going to leave the quit because there we go, comment those out right now. I'm going to put a comment on that. So comment out region. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that there in case I want to make an option at the beginning of the game for people to choose which method with the mouse or with the keyboard. So let's go back up here, and we're going to add now the keyboard movement. A couple tabs in, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say the player left variable and the player top variable is going to be from a Pygame mouse get position, get underscore POS, parentheses, because it's a command or a function you're pulling up from Pygame. So this will get the position, and it loads up the player left and player top. That's going to be the top left corner of the player. So that's why I named it with those variables. Then I'm going to say, okay, our PX is comma PY is equal to the player left minus the player width divided by 2, and the y coordinate is the player top minus the player height divided by 2. So what this does is this will set the cursor to the dead center. So the mouse movement will be the dead center of the player and not the upper left or upper top. Yeah, the upper left. So let's just make sure I've done everything there correctly. And since the PX and PY are used in my updating of the screen, this will make the mouse move perfectly with the cursor. Let's see if this worked. Okay, so there it is. It is working nicely. I am now, and you can see it much easier to play the game. I didn't, oh no, I did everything correctly there. I didn't show the score of 100, but it did pause, and I can restart, and I don't like the mouse on the player, so let me show you a cool trick on that one. Right when we do the initiating of the mouse movements, let's use a cool little Pygame library feature called mouse set underscore visible And if I set it to 0, that would be false, so therefore not visible. So every time I play this game, I will only see myself moving a player around, but I won't see the mouse. I should set, I'm going to copy this line real quick, copy, and I should set during the start screen for the mouse to be visible, so when it restarts you get the visible mouse back in case that's an uncomfortable point for people playing the game. Alright, let's try running it. Spacebar to start. Good, we don't see the mouse. Perfect. Okay, I think we're going to call it quits here. Thank you for putting up with my summer brain. I'm not as sharp as I am during the school year when I'm teaching all the time. I hope you're enjoying this. I promised we would do a time, and time is coming in I think going to be my last, because I'm going to do time and multiple levels with multiple stars coming up each time, more and more stars coming up each time. Again, I'm David from Electric Teaching.